I will give you the explanation of the poem The Abbot of Canterbury. It is a ballad and the poet is unknown or anonymous. Now, what is a ballad? A ballad is a story in verse form, which means it's a story in a poetic form. And a ballad has certain features. For instance, it has quatrain stanzas. Quatrain stanzas means that each stanza comprises of 4 lines. And if you see in your ballad, you will see that, or you will notice that each stanza has 4 lines, and 4 lines means quatrain, so it has quatrain stanzas. Then, since a ballad is a story, and we all know that story is narrated, so we find a narrative style in a ballad. And lastly, we have the feature of refrain. Refrain is a typical feature of a ballad, and it means that the stanzas are repeated. So if you have noticed that there are a lot of stanzas which are repeated in your ballad, and that is why the Abbot of Canterbury is a typical traditional ballad, and it has all the features of a ballad. Now, this story is a folk tale which is about King John and the quarrel he had with the Abbot of Canterbury. King John. King John was a ruler of England, and as your ballad says, he ruled England with main and with might. It means that he was a cruel ruler. He was treacherous and not a successful king. Now, according to history, the king had quarrel with Pope over who should be Archbishop of Canterbury. And this was specifically in 1207. So you can see the connection of the story with what happened in reality in the past. Abbot. Abbot is the Archbishop of Canterbury. He's the head of church or monastery. And Canterbury is a famous cathedral city in south of England. Now, what was the quarrel between King John and the Abbot of Canterbury? Well, there was no authentic reason. There was no real reason of the quarrel. It was just that King John was jealous of the abbot. And why was he jealous? Because Abbot had a grand lifestyle. He had a pompous lifestyle, which made King John jealous of Abbot. Also, Abbot was popular among people, and the king thought or assumed that the abbot wants to overthrow his throne and take his place. And he felt that he was conspiring against him. So, what will he do? He will try to get rid of Abbot. And if you look at the lifestyle of Abbot, well, it says that 100 men attended him. It means that 100 men dined with him, uh, the reason why he was popular, and he had 50 knights who wore velvet cloaks and gold chains. So, in a way, the poet has um, given a humorous touch to the description of the lifestyle of Abbot, right? So, like I said, King John wants to get rid of Abbot. So, what will he do? Let's see. Now, he just cannot murder or kill Abbot. He has to have some excuse, he has to have some reason to get rid of Abbot. So, what he does, once he calls the Abbot to his court. Now, when the Abbot arrives at King's court, the king outrightly says that he fears that the Abbot is conspiring against him and he wants to usurp the throne, he wants to overthrow him because he has a very grand and splendid lifestyle and he has a lavish lifestyle. And the Abbot, he says that whatever I have, it is my own hard earned money. So that does not mean that, I'm working against your crown or I am conspiring against you. But the king, he does not want to listen to anything. And he says, no, no, I don't want to listen to you. I will ask you 3 questions. And if you are able to answer those questions, then your life would be saved. Otherwise, you will be beheaded. Now, what were those 3 questions? As you can see, the first question that he asked him, that while he's sitting on this throne with a beautiful crown on his head, so he says that tell me what exactly my worth is, what my price is. And the second question he asks is that how long will it take to travel the whole world? The third question he is asked is that Abbot should tell that what he is thinking right now. Now, if you look at these 3 questions, you can see that these are not answerable questions. They look unanswerable. Nobody could come up with the answers to these questions. Isn't it so? Now, that's exactly why he asked such questions. He knows, the king knows very well that nobody would be able to come up with the answers. And Abbot obviously cannot come up with the answers as well. And eventually he will take his life. But he will have a reason to take his life just to show mercifulness that, he had put a condition to him, a condition of answering these questions. So the Abbot asks for some time, he requests for some time, and the king very conveniently gives him 3 weeks to search for the answers, because he very well knows that it's impossible for Abbot to come up with the answers. As he says, now 3 weeks' space to thee will I give, and it is the longest time thou hast to live. For if thou dost not answer my questions 3, thy lands and thy living are forfeit to me. He says 3 weeks space, 3 weeks time, that is 21 days, I will give it to you. And for if thou dost not answer my questions, if you're not able to answer these 3 questions, then I will take not only your land, that is your property, your wealth, but also your living, that is your life, and you shall be beheaded. Now, poor Abbot went everywhere to search for the answers. He consulted the scholars, but nobody could come up with the answers. After searching for 18 days, he goes back to his town, Canterbury, and there he comes across Shepherd. Now, Shepherd asks Abbot that what had happened in King's Court, and Abbot tells the whole thing, the whole story. Surprisingly, Shepherd says that he could help his lordship, and he says that a fool may learn a wise man's wit. Now, what does this mean? Now, fool in those days was used for the people who could neither read nor write. That is, it was used for illiterate people. So the shepherd said that though he cannot read nor write, but he has the wisdom to answer the question. He has the intelligence of a wise man. And he requests Abbot that he should, that is, Abbot should, give him his apparel, his attire. Why? Because he reminds Abbot that everyone in Canterbury knows that we both resemble each other. So I will disguise myself as you, and I will go to King's Court, and I will answer these questions. Well, do you think Abbot would agree? Definitely. Definitely. Because Abbot has no choice. And he gives Shepherd his attire, his apparel, and all of the things. And Shepherd disguises himself and he goes to London, to King's Court. Well, when Shepherd arrives at King's Court, the king is really pleased to see that he has kept his promise and has come to the committed day to answer the questions. And then the king puts the first question before him, and which was to tell him to 1 penny what his worth is. That is exactly what his price is. Well, Shepherd gives a biblical reference over here, and he says that Jesus Christ was betrayed by his disciples by taking bribe of 13 pence and selling him to the Jews. So he says that you cannot come up to the level of Christ, so your price or your worth should be 1 penny less, and that would be how much? 29 pence. Well, the king was really amused to listen to such a answer, and he laughs. Then he puts the second question to him, that how soon he may ride the whole world about. And the shepherd, the wise shepherd, says that if the king rises with the sun and rides with it till the next day it rises again, then it means that it will take the king 24 hours to travel the whole world. Now the king is really amused, and he says that I didn't know that it could be done so soon. And then he says, okay, now let's see the third question, and you should answer this one also. And that is what he's thinking, what the king is thinking. And the shepherd, he says that the king is thinking that He is Abbot. But the shepherd takes off his disguise and he's in his simple plain clothes, and he says that, you see that I'm not Abbot, which you are thinking, but I'm his servant shepherd, and I've come to resolve this dispute and to beg for forgiveness on Abbot's behalf. Well, the king is really happy and is really pleased to see that shepherd is able to answer these three questions. And now the king is so much so impressed that he gives a reward of 4 nobles or 4 coins a week throughout shepherd's life. And he also says generously that shepherd should go back to his town, to the Canterbury, and convey the message to Abbot that King John has forgiven him. So you see, Abbot's life is finally saved by the wisdom of a man who could neither read nor write. And that's the end of this folk tale. Thank you.